Hello and welcome back to Mexico News Network's breaking news. Stay with us because we still have great information for you, but before we continue with it, let me remind you to browse through our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com for more, and also follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Google+. Now let's continue with more. We've all heard from many types of cosmetic surgeries. However, have you ever heard of eye color change? Sounds quite hard to believe, but now it's quite possible. The California-based Stroma Medical has made it possible for your eyes to go from brown to blue within days for $5,000. The surgery uses laser technology and is currently only allowed in certain countries, including Mexico as well as Costa Rica, while the company processes approval from the U.S. government department. About 37 patients have in fact successfully undergone this operation, which essentially consists of removing the small brown pigment layer covering the surface of the iris. Once this layer is completely removed, the natural blue color gradually appears. This is because all people have blue eyes, so to speak. People with brown eyes have a thin layer of brown pigmentation on their iris. The company itself aims to test the technology in 50 more patients and hopes to take this technology to Paris, London, Barcelona, Toronto, and Manila. In more news, as part of the dual year from July 31st to September the 5th, the open-air theater of the famous Shakespeare's Globe will present a play entitled The Heresy of Love, a theater production inspired by the life and work of Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, also known as the 10th Muse. Shakespeare's Globe is a reconstruction of the Globe Theatre, which was burned down in 1613 and to be rebuilt in 1614, to be finally demolished in 1644. The brand new theatre was built on the foundations of the Globe Theatre and opened to the public in 1997. Nowadays, the theater starts its seasonal events every April 23rd, William Shakespeare's birthday, and ends on October 18th. Now, The Heresy of Love will be presented within this year's final season. The play was written by Helen Edmondson and is produced by the Royal Shakespeare Company. During a telephone interview with Mexican daily El Reforma, Edmondson said that the idea came to her when she attended to see a production of the Royal Shakespeare Company entitled The House of Desires, which captivated the author and became completely emotional with it. She was very surprised to learn that it had been written by a 17th century nun of New Spain. The author said that she had a great desire to write religious play long ago, and the life of Sor Juana seemed like the perfect theme. She explains that she tried to write the play about Sor Juana and then she had to write it all over again. She used the forms, language, structures, and themes that appear repeatedly in the theater of the Spanish Golden Age. The entire play is about Sor Juana's life itself, played by Naomi Frederick, and takes us all back to the 17th century in a story full of intrigue, danger, passion, politics, and tragedy, which tells us how the nun Sor Juana de Asbadaje suffered the pursuit of an autocratic archbishop, what was then New Spain. Helen Edmondson reflected at the end of the interview, saying that Sor Juana was a champion of free will within a religious context because she found a way of saying that this freedom is in fact the greatest gift of God that we all have. Moving along to more news, the group of video game developers came up with a brilliant idea on how to preserve and share one of Mexico's native cultures with the entire world. Lienzo is the name of the company, a young group of people who created a 3D environment video game that showcases and shares with the world the mythology of the Tarahumara culture with games called Mulaca, Origin Tribes. Mulaca is an immersive game inspired by the Tarahumara, or Rarámuris as they call themselves, set all in a fantastical land resembling their ancestral lands. Much of it is still uninhabited. All of this takes place in the Sierra Tarahumara in the northern state of Chihuahua. Here, the user embarks on a journey throughout various natural scenarios, confronting several adventurous situations to solve puzzles and create herbal potions to use in combat. Within this action-adventure game, the player will encounter several characters such as deities, demigods, and monsters which are actually drawn from Tarahumara mythology, all of which are a very strong part of the Rarámuri's beliefs and daily everyday lives. The Tarahumara people are very well known for their astounding running ability, their very well preserved customs, traditions, and of course, myths. Modern Rarámuris have been able to adapt their ancient culture to their modern everyday life, which is why, in order to portray all of these characteristics, the developers worked with anthropologists as well as Rarámuri leaders to represent accurately the true essence of their culture in a game. Additionally, the game features narration in the Tarahumara language. Edgar Serrano, Lienzo's director and game design, shared his source of inspiration for the game with Spanish daily El País. He quoted, "We must begin to search within our very own borders to feed the needs of adventure. We must be inspired by our very own legacy rather than seeking to replicate foreign cultures." Lienzo is planning to launch Mulaka for PC by mid-2016, according to the company's Facebook page. Now, their hope is to create social impact by putting out a fun and educational game that can show one of Mexico's many indigenous cultures to people all over the globe. Aside from showcasing Tarahumara culture in the game, the company is also donating a percentage of the revenue from sales to non-governmental organizations that in fact support these communities economically, in nutrition, in education, as well as water safety. In other news, street art had its origins back in the 60s in Paris, when murals as well as walls were used to express displeasure with the political groups of the time. However, it did not take force until the 80s as well as the 90s in New York, especially in the Bronx. So, street art, or also called urban art, became a new way of expressing a message, even though it is technically illegal in many countries and cities. In Mexico, there is an organization called Street Art Chilango, created 2 years ago with the aim of promoting and spreading urban art in Mexico and the world. It was founded by Alejandro Revilla and Genaro de Rosenweig. Street Art Chilango posts pictures and locations of urban art in Mexico City, as well as other urban centers, on its website. Inside every page, you can find a virtual map which shows the location of each work of art. Now, all of this is achieved by a plugin on its website, which allows a Google map to display images of Instagram by using the hashtag StreetArtChilango. So far, the platform already has more than 10,000 works of art posted and keeps growing every single day as users participate as well as contribute more locations through social media by using the aforementioned hashtag. Thanks to this, users can even find messages from other parts of the country such as Guadalajara, Monterrey, Sinaloa, Michoacán, and much more. Aside displaying the locations of the different murals, Street Art Chilango also offers tours, lectures, workshops, exhibitions, and serves as a mediator for those that look for an urban artist that want to do a mural for a public or private space. Now, if you are interested in the project and want to know more about their upcoming activities, check out their website, www.streetartchilango.com. This was all for today, sadly. Thank you so much for staying with us. Remember, we're broadcasting from the El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. Remember, Mexico News Network is your #1 source of positive, relevant, and useful information on Mexico, so browse through our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, and don't forget to also follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Google+. Thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Elisa Carballo, and we will see you next time.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.